So are you looking for the best farming methods out there to fully deck out your character and make it as strong as possible? Well, if you do, then this is probably the best video for you, because today I want to show you some of the best and earliest farming methods that you can use right now to literally get infinite amounts of epics, a ton of crafting materials that you can further use to upgrade your gear, and more importantly, a really massive profit from all of the stuff that you're going to be able to sell. So if you enjoyed this video at any point, it would be super awesome if you left a like on it, and let's jump right into it. By the way, since you guys really seem to enjoy these, here's another giveaway for the month of April. Of course, the only thing you have to do is to be subscribed to the channel and follow me on social media, and of course you're gonna be able to either pick the Outriders game or literally any other game from the list of games over there on the website. By the way, also a huge shout out to Instant Gaming for setting all of this up. Definitely make sure you also follow them, as they organize these quite often. But with that out of the way, let's begin with a really awesome and early farming method for world tiers. And I know what you're saying right now: world tiers are super easy, I'm already like world tier 7 and nothing stops me. Well, what if I told you that as soon as you hit that tier 8, it's gonna stop, because things become way more difficult and it's gonna be even more insane past world tier 9. Well, what if I told you that there's a very early on group of enemies that will give you tons of XP that you can easily farm even on the higher tiers? So that's why I recommend to go back into the first city, which is essentially the second map you get to play into, and refarm the third point of the story to reach the other side of the river. And by the way, I fully recommend to have a really high AoE type of shotgun or any other type of weapon that, for example, uses something like the bone shrapnel right here in combination with the minefield, which instantly deletes large groups of enemies. And this is exactly what you will fight here. You're going to encounter a ton of these small little monsters that tend to swarm you quite a bit. So what I like doing in this area is to just run around, make sure I collect everybody in a small little and nice tight area, and once that happens, I just pop a few into one of these and the entire group explodes at the same time, which gives me between 150 to 250 world XP just for one single group of about 10 enemies. So you can get one single area up to 800 to 1000 world XP, and there's gonna be two of these areas in the same map. Of course, once you're done with the first one, head over into the second one, repeat the same process as well. There's gonna be even more and tougher enemies that give even more XP right here, but still easy enough for you to pull it off. And lo and behold, at one point I even like reached world tier 9 just farming into this place. And by the way, it is totally possible for these enemies to also drop epics if you are at least level 20 or plus, so it's pretty much a win-win kind of situation. Moving on to number 2, another very early farming method. This is going to be slightly more complicated and slightly more spoilerish, so you have been warned, but basically this is all gonna be for titanium. It gives you quite a bit of that, and titanium is important for two reasons. First of all, because it's exclusively used in upgrading gear to epic quality, and second of all, it's going to be even more useful at upgrading the levels of your gear that you will definitely use a ton of once you reach level 30 and you're pushing into the harder challenge territory. So here is, this one is going to be located into the Eagle Peaks, and you're going to want to repeat that second point of the story right there with the investigation of the volcanic peak. Once you reach that point, you basically have to kind of fight an end boss right here, which is this really big arachnoid inside of a volcano. Now this is a pretty difficult fight, so what I suggest is to just shoot and pop off the armor of its legs and back, and you're gonna be able to deal much higher damage if you hit the weak points then, which is the opposite of what I was doing here in this video, so this is the wrong approach altogether. Nonetheless, it has like 3 phases, but the last one is the easiest and the fastest, so essentially it takes you like a couple of minutes to defeat this boss, and once you do that, it's going to drop a number of items which are going to be completely useless, but what we need from this boss is the titanium and a pretty high amount of course, leather that you can get from it. So you can get anywhere between 25 to about 40 titanium per single fight, which is by far the highest of any of the bosses that I've encountered so far in the game, and almost 1000 leather, which again is very useful into crafting and all of that. So yeah, definitely do this. You can repeat this process as much as you want to, and again, it's going to be extremely important to upgrade your gear, and especially so those levels. But with that out of the way, it's time we actually jump into a really awesome farming method. Now this is semi-early in the game because it's basically in the forest enclave, which is about like the 5th or 6th area that you get to unlock, so after about like 5 or 6 hours. But this is going to be the most amazing of them all because A, it's pretty easy and short if you know what you're doing, B, it's going to give you an infinite amounts of epics by just refarming it, and 3, you can't lose it at all. Like literally you can just repeat the story point over and over again, which makes it perfect for what we're doing. So this is gonna be in the forest enclave, as I was saying, and you're going to want to repeat that first point of the story right there to track down one of these big monsters. So that monster is going to look something like this. Here is what you will need to know about this fight. There are some really cool little weak points over there on the boss's chest. What you have to do is to just like shoot a few of the bullets into that, pop it, and then completely focus on the weak area, on the exposed area right there, which is gonna like quadruple your damage really easily. That's why I kind of recommend a single shot sniper rifle or a regular rifle with a variant magazine, and you're gonna be able to like shoot for really high damage right there. Of course, if you're playing with a trickster, you can buff your damage to extreme levels. Now the boss has 2 phases, with the second one being even easier, as you will have that exposed part even closer to your face. So it literally takes me about 45 seconds to a minute to take down this boss, and here is the beauty of it all. You get guaranteed epics every single time you defeat this boss, no matter what the world tier you're playing on. The only thing the world tier is going to affect in this case is of course its HP and difficulty, but also how high of a level those items are going to be. You don't need to play more than level 6, by the way, it's plenty enough. And as you can see, I've been repeating this over and over again, got dozens if not hundreds of epics that I was able to sell, to dismantle, to get almost all of the mods, at least in the tier 2 category, and a lot of materials on top too. And of course this doesn't even begin to cover like the huge profit you can make with these, about 1000 plus scrap per piece. So that is pretty damn impressive. But if you think that's all that I'm gonna show you, then you're massively wrong, because I'm going to show you another amazing, a little bit more different farming method that you might have lost or not, depending if you completed a certain side mission in the story. But this is even earlier than that enclave, and you can do it as early as the Eagle Peaks, essentially the 3rd map in the main campaign. So as I've already mentioned previously, monster hunts are extremely profitable. The main reason for that is because, just like in the case of the previous boss, these mini bosses also guarantee drop epics every single time you kill them. So that is why I fully recommend you to fully save on all of those monster hunts as much as possible, so that you can keep them for later farming. In this case, it's gonna be the Hunter Cold Claw in the Eagle Peaks that you can find right here on this side of the map. So the way you're gonna wanna do this is just like in the case of the Captain Farm, just make your way through the mission all the way up until you reach this point at the top of the mountain. Once you do that, you're gonna have to clear just a few more enemies, but don't clear them all. Keep at least a few of these alive and well up until the main boss spawns. Once he does that, take down the boss without trying to take down any of the other enemies, and as you can see, it fully dropped one of these, well, 2 of these epics. Now the problem with this one is that I already finished it, so you only see me completing it once over here. So I kind of wish that I did not do that, but this principle works with literally every single other monster hunt out there. So for example, here's the second one a little bit later that I was able to actually do properly, and I only focused on the main boss. and left the enemies to kill me once I would take it down, so that I could repeat this over and over again without any problem. And by the way, if you are sick of farming at one point, once you respawn again, just don't head over into the battlefield and instead turn back. You can exit the area and it's still going to leave that mission available for you at a later stage, and the boss will continue to respawn. So again, don't complete these, keep them off for the end game, just like I suggested so many times in the past, and you're gonna be able to farm insane amounts of epics in the shortest amount of time possible. More to come in the upcoming days, by the way. There's even better farming methods later on in the game, so if you want to stay up to date with that and everything Outriders related, definitely make sure you subscribe to this channel, leave a like on this video, and yeah, let me know down below how many of these have you used up until now, and let me know what is the most powerful epic item that you got up until now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.